Loretta Moore, and I am Vice President for Research and Federal Relations at Jackson State University, a full professor of computer science and PI of the JSU Advanced Grant. One of the unique aspects is that the JSU Advanced IT grant is the first full grant at an historically black college and university. So there had been other grants that were a partial grant or a planning grant, but the first full institutional transformation grant at an HBCU. And so I think many strategies had been designed and proven effective at much larger institutions, at predominantly white institutions. So how could we advance some of those strategies, remodel them, develop new strategies that would work for the unique context of an HBCU or for a much smaller institution? Jackson State is a historically black college and university, located in Jackson, Mississippi, so it's an urban setting. We have about 9,500 students. We have about 350 full-time faculty members. And I think other unique aspects of Jackson State is if you look at HBCUs, they were established for a unique purpose, where African Americans could not attend other institutions. So to educate teachers, to educate ministers. So we stayed true to that mission, but yet we moved forward as a major research institution. We're currently classified by the Carnegie Foundation as a high research activity university. So I think the balancing act for faculty, for administrators, for the institution, is staying true to the mission of serving those who have been underserved in our communities, while at the same time advancing our research, advancing our institution with a strong focus on research. And what this means at JSU, like many other institutions, is that faculty members have to publish a lot and they have to obtain grants and contracts to support their research, while at the same time they have to provide the teaching, the nurturing, the mentoring of our students to ensure that they're able to be successful. So we looked at some of the male faculty members who were at the full professor ranks. What did they do and how have they achieved success? Through communities, through mentoring, working with colleagues. So how can we create that so that women would be as successful as men, and therefore our students and our institution would be successful by utilizing all of the talents? When we looked at where female faculty were at the university, we weren't doing a lot of hiring at that time. Many people were at the associate professor level, so they were tenured associate professor. And we wanted their research careers to advance so they could advance to the full professor ranks, so they could then take on leadership roles within the STEM disciplines and across the university. And so we established the summer writing retreats. And it's not to teach women how to write, because everybody knows how to write. You write a dissertation, you write many papers, but it's how to dedicate some time to advance your research career so that you could advance to the upper ranks. We also wanted to build a community. Many of the departments had 1 to 2 female faculty. The other females may be across campus in another building in their labs. So they really had not met and interacted and formed a community. So the summer writing retreats provide a unique opportunity to build community. We go away for 1 week in a wooded cabin in Mississippi, and we stay together. So you're away from the demands of the office, you're away from the demands of your family, but you can focus on how to advance your career through research development, which we saw as being one of the factors that were hindering the advancement of many women, and it hinders the advancement of many other individuals, as we determined later. They support one another. When we look at individuals who've been underserved, so we look at African American students, and we've quickly broadened our scope. We have a very diverse student population, so it's not just those that are underserved. But if you look at being a public institution, many of the students that you receive have been at public high schools, and they probably had not received everything that they needed to take off, on a jet with their STEM career. And so we provide support. We take people wherever they are, and we get them where they need to be in order for them to be successful. So I think with our STEM women, we look at where are you and where we need you to be in order for you to be successful within this climate at Jackson State, but at any institution. And so one of those elements was a focus on research productivity. And so I think it's parallel and it intersects. As you see in much literature that student success is dependent on faculty success. So in order for all of our students to be successful, all of our faculty need to be successful. People want to know what's in it for them. So, male faculty members, what do I get out of this? So women advance. So I think many men, faculty and leaders, they don't necessarily understand the benefits of the entire group advancing. It's like one of your arms being hurt, but the rest of your body say, I don't care about that arm, I'm going to just keep going. But, if you're all members of the same body, everything needs to work in sync and be at its best. So I think the failure for some people, or the lack of understanding of some people in terms of understanding the impact of leaving out a portion of the society. I think at the university, but also on a national level, when we talk about supporting HBCUs, when we talk about supporting women, and we talk about supporting those who've not been appropriately served. And many in our nation say, well, why should we do that? Let the rich go on and let the others stay where they're at. And they don't necessarily see the impact it has on the nation. One of the things we did with the summer writing retreats, we also had other faculty development activities such as visibility, mentoring, and leadership for women in the STEM and social and behavioral science disciplines. We also had a very strong bias in policy components as well. So when we initially started, many men came and say, well, what's in advance for me? And we said, training on what you should and shouldn't do. And it was like, well, no, I want more. I want faculty development. One of the things we did early in the grant, say by year 3, was we developed an academy for research and scholarly engagement. And it's institution-wide, and it provides a year of coaching and writing support for faculty members who want to advance their research portfolio in terms of grants. And it's funded through the Department of Education and by the Division of Research and Federal Relations. So we opened this up in year 3, and we received 50 applications from men and women, African American, non-African American, faculty from all 5 of our academic college and disciplines who said, hey, we want faculty development. We want our research careers advanced. And some were already advanced. We're like, we're not accepting you because you're where we want most people to be. But it's been tremendous. We're now going into our 4th cohort. We've trained over 100 and something faculty, which is a third of our full-time faculty. So they want advanced-like activities. I think this has helped us to broaden our community, where we started with a community of women in STEM and SBS disciplines. We broadened it to be a community of scholars across the campus, which means for promotion and tenure, you have men and women sitting together in communities talking about aspects such as the logic model for their grant proposal and sharing and exchanging work. And those are the types of communities that we need to see at all our institutions in order to make the impact that's necessary. We broadened it also. We've institutionalized to have a faculty engagement and advancement program that's open to all faculty. And I think those are some of the initiatives. While we designed them for women in STEM and SBS, we quickly learned through feedback that everybody wants to be a part of, quote, the community of scholars. A second major outcome of our project has been the hiring of a chief diversity officer. A lot of people think, well, you're an HBCU. Do you really need a chief diversity officer? While the majority of our students are African American and over 50% of our students are women, you would think, okay, well, you're meeting the diversity goal that most people want. But we want a more diverse environment that invites Caucasian Americans and international students, as well as students from across the U.S. So we do have a chief diversity officer, and we have a chief diversity plan, strategic diversity plan. He works with the advanced team, and one of the target populations that he has as a part of the institution's plan that the president supports is to have women in STEM and SBS as target populations. So he works hand in hand with our team. He's developed mandatory training for search committees so that they understand implicit bias. They know how to avoid it in looking at applications. He's developed specialized training for tenure and promotion committees so that people don't see time taken off for work-life balance as something unnecessary or a weakness. So I think having him as a part of our team and figuring out how we incorporate bias awareness into an HBCU that many people would say should not have issues with diversity, I think have been a significant outcome of our project.